welcome back to the Skills Room, and this is OffScript. Hopefully you really enjoyed the episodes we've done so far. As always, I'm joined by the East Coast Iniesta, Mr. Lewis Wright. How are you, Righty?
Fantastic. Got another great episode tonight.
Fantastic. Who you got for us tonight?
Again, as I say every week, another good mate of mine picked up the phone. No qualms about coming on. He is the East Coast Javi. If I'm the East Coast Iniesta, it's Mr. Adam Millson. How are you, Millie?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Perfect. It's going to be a good episode. As I said off camera, mate, I've got 2 pages of notes. We need to get through it. Wow. Well, we could be here all night.
We're scratching the back. We've got 2 pages of notes.
Wowzers. So, obviously, before we crack on, Cookie, did you want to just plug the pages again, like you did last week?
Yeah, of course I can. Just want to say thank you for all the people that have donated so far. We've got an NHS and a BU Boston United Community Foundation just giving pages. So if you want to go and support either of them, they're doing great work, and the Community Foundation will continue to do great work as well as the NHS in future. So if you want to go support them, the links will be down below. There you go, Righty.
Awesome. So we've got the usual format tonight. Obviously, Millie's going to talk about his pathway in YT days. He's got a few stories up his sleeve. First team days, which obviously had highs and very much lows as well. And we've got a 1 to 11 coming up later in the episode. So, Millie, let's start off. Obviously, this is being recorded the day after when it's meant to be scheduled, because you're very busy at the minute in normal life, hitting deadlines. How's it all been with the COVID stuff, and are you looking forward to getting back playing?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to get back playing first and foremost. It's been grim, hasn't it, for us all with COVID? I suppose we got back playing Boxing Day for 1 game. We won away at Brig. Real high buzz. And then, a couple of weeks after, shut down again, and nothing since. So it's been grim. Been pounding the roads to try and keep fit and keep the weight off. But it's, just looking forward to get back going now. Yeah,
I think everyone's become a bit Mo Farah, really, haven't they, over lockdown, really pushing it. I've become Bradley Wiggins on the bike. So, you got to do what you got to do to stay fit. Because obviously football literally is now just around the corner, and hopefully we'll get back to some normality. So let's start at the beginning for the journey of Millie then. So what age did you get into playing football? Was it very early on, or was you a late developer?
Nah, mad keen from early on, Lewis. So as soon as you could walk, as kicking a football. As soon as you could get involved in juniors football, I was down at East Coast. I think I joined a year early, so I was playing up an age group at East Coast until my age took off, and then my dad took over the team with Tim Cowdell, so I was obviously like manager's player of the year every year. nailed on starting every game.
kept that theme throughout his career, Cookie.
Yeah. Never dropped. So and then I think actually it was Paul Rayner who came and watched some East Coast matches when it's perhaps under 15's age, and sort of invited us to come along and have a bit of a trial with the centres. It was still relatively new then, the Centres of Excellence, and then went in from them. My first game was on trial. It was away at Notts County. Turned up, and the lads were sort of saying, "Oh, the usual guy's not here today. There's a Scottish chap, ex-army. He's taking the team." It was Steve Welsh. It was an eye-opener, from East Coast days where everything was sort of like nicey nice, and then Welshie was telling me to stamp on someone's toes after 2 minutes and sling my head backwards to headbutt. But it was a learning curve, a steep one,
Yeah. So obviously, as a toddler growing up, you said your dad took over with Tim. Obviously, I know Tim very well as well. Top man. Did you ever go on trial anywhere? Did you did you obviously? I know that you're a Grimsby Town fan. As away from, I think, are you Arsenal as well? You're Arsenal, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm Arsenal, yeah.
But, you know, Grimsby Town fan. Obviously, being at East Coast, they had a bit of a link with Grimsby Town as well. Did you ever get sort of swayed to go across there on trial, or
no? I mean, when the centres were first setting up, so there was like Grimsby and there was Boston. They were asking sort of like 30, 40 lads to go at the start of the season, and then picking a squad of 16 or maybe 20 from it. So there was always, I wasn't mad keen on going across when there was like 40 lads going there, and then they'll pick 20, and then afterwards, if you didn't get in, you sort of like go back to East Coast with your tail between your legs.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like watched it out early doors, and then thought, as I get older, I'll look to sort of get involved. And then obviously when Paul Rayner sort of asked us to go at that sort of age where he was getting a bit towards youth team age, then that's when I thought, yeah, now's the time to have a go at it.
That's quite strange, because you know you're one of the first ones to come on and say about Rains getting involved. So obviously that's Football League days when he was here with Evans, obviously going around the local clubs having a look. So that's interesting to know. I've worked the club many years, as you know, and I didn't know that Paul Rayner had gone and sort of scouted people. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know how regular it was, or whether he had a friend connected to like one of the lads in our team.
Right.
So I think that was the connection, the link. I don't know whether that was a regular thing for him to go out into scouting. Like, yeah.
So at East Coast, was you always a midfielder, or did you trial other positions?
No, I started up top.
Knowing you and your personality, you'd probably say you play everywhere. But was you always a midfielder, energetic midfielder, as it states in your Boston United profile?
I think I started that. Craig Singleton asked me in one interview. He said, "What if you get into the first team, then Adam? What are you going to bring?" And I think one of the first things I said was like energy. But no, I started out up top actually, and it was probably my dad, if anything, that changed that. It was kind of the opinion like, if you're going to make a go of it up top, you've got to either be really quick or have something special, like a bit of a gift. Whereas anywhere else on the pitch, it's perhaps not quite like that, or that was the opinion we had at an early age. So yeah, then I think naturally when I was early on playing up top, I wanted to come get the ball more or follow it a bit more. So that was just a lure to come back into midfield and try to sort of be involved a little bit more all around. Yeah.
So when you was at secondary school, grammar boy, I believe, very well educated, just like my brother and my dad, who's listening on. So,
what happened with
who knows? So, did you ever pick for county? Did you play for county as well?
Yeah, fortunate enough to captain the county, actually. Yeah, so represented the county. We did the England schoolboy trials and got named as a reserve or something. So that was a bit of a low point, if you like, big gutted. But played for the east of England. We played Australia schoolboys. They come over and we give them a game. Beat them actually, yeah, but no, unfortunately didn't make the full England schoolboys squad.
It's a shame. And obviously, you said about Rains coming to watch the game, you getting involved. What age did you say that was at? The under 15s? So
I think it was under 15s. It was either under 15s or 14s, yeah, where he first asked me to sort of come over. And there was no training sessions as such. It was just like first game was away, Notts County. So
what was sort of the natural progression? So was you playing with the East Coast, or did you have to then make a decision to go to Boston, or could you play for both at the time? Or
yeah, perhaps a bit naughty, and rules now would probably prevent you from doing so for too much football. But yeah, at the time the under 14s, 15 games were sort of like real early kickoffs. And then if East Coast was on a afternoon, I'd perhaps go play one at Boston. And obviously that was first, which was ideal. And then if I had out left, I'd go to the East Coast game afterwards. Obviously, like more often than not, I'd be named as sub because it needed to be fair on all the lads that were sort of like playing. But yeah, I'd perhaps get on and get half an hour for East Coast as well. It was just love of playing back. Well, I suppose still, I was going to say back then, but it just couldn't get enough of playing football.
Well, I know that firsthand because you've come to help me out in a few games as well, and just because you love football, it's what it should be about. So, how did the youth team come about? Because obviously you was part of the under-19 setup. You didn't opt to take the scholarship. You was still a schoolboy, weren't you? You stayed with grammar school.
Yeah, I was a schoolboy. Yeah.
But how did that come about? Was there an evening where you had to make that decision? And you know, how many times did you actually train with the lads? Because I know you was playing on Wednesdays. If you got obviously day release from school.
Yeah.
How did it come about?
So yeah, under 16s was getting to that time where it was decision time. Basically, scholar will let you go, and there was also Boston typically. Like it or not, some people did, some people didn't. Boston invited lots of other young lads that had been released from, say, bigger clubs from around the country for trial days. And if lads impressed on those days, then more often than not, the track record was like some of them would get scholarships and other lads that had missed out that had been there all year. So there was a lot of that going on, but I was always, like you say, education. I didn't want to let that go, and turns out I was right in with the injuries I picked up, and football didn't work out for me. So I just stopped the club and said, look, if I'm not looking for a scholarship, I'm looking for a schoolboy. Can my decision be any quicker? And it was just a case of if all you're looking for is a schoolboy, not the full scholarship, then we'll offer you a schoolboy, and that was it. It was sort of done and dusted a little bit earlier because I wasn't hanging on trying to get the scholarship.
So how often did you get for training and stuff then?
Yeah, so it's just a day release, but obviously there was a few exceptional times where FA Youth Cup for one, when we was preparing for that, I think there was a few times where I had an extra morning or extra afternoon, and it was Grammar were really good with it. To be fair, they had sort of a scheme whereby as long as I caught back up and did the work in sort of my own time, they weren't too fussed, which I started off really good at, and then in the second year got pretty slack at. But
so overall, sort of, how was your time? And sort of, you mentioned Steve earlier. Steve was taking you that random Scottish guy, as you said, on that 15s game. So how big an influence on you was he?
Yeah, it was massive, to be fair. So our coach at under 15, 16 level, once I got sort of like signed, if you like, he departed. I'm not too sure why, but Welshie was kind of like took over us and then was doing the youth team. So I feel like that helped me in some way because he saw me the whole way through. Whereas I guess if other players or people have had different coaches year to year, so you're always trying to impress the new guy, whereas I was lucky enough to have Welshie the whole way through. And then when I was lucky enough to get in the first team, if you like, I suppose I started off with Tommy, and I was sort of like a bit part player off the bench here and there, and then Welshie come in as the interim, and again, like call it luck, call it working hard for Welshie or whatever, I suppose you get thrown in the team. So he was a massive.
Welshie knew what he was about, didn't he? He knew what you could bring to the table, and at that time, you know, as I spoke about with Jono and Jacko and Butch and people, there was the opportunities there for young lads to step up. So during your youth team days, Minnie, was there sort of any standouts which you would class? Obviously, from a schoolboy coming into like the scholars, when you was coming into that team, you're like, yeah, I've got to fight for my place there. He's got a bit about him. Potentially he could make it. But was there anybody you sort of identified?
So the year above me, well, no, 2 years above. Firstly, you had Brooks. Is it Lewis Brooks, and then you had Rob Norris. Well, Rob Norris was like technically the best player there, and good enough to go in the first team at the time, in my opinion, under Steve Evans. But obviously, I think he perhaps did get offered like a 6-month deal or something, but it didn't quite work out. But he was certainly good enough. The year below that, you then had Jamie Stevens. Obviously got in the team, scored on debut, I think, against Notts County again, actually, funny enough, I reckon. So, yeah, again, he was the standout. But alongside him, you had a lad called Richard Chin, centre-half or sort of like holding midfield player that, again, he was very, very good, but he couldn't keep himself fit, Lewis. He was always struggling. We used to be like going out to training, and he'd have like Evans telling him that he needs to go down to Jeff Mulder and get in the sauna or get in the gym, and so he was doing that before training, then going training. But he was certainly one of the better players there. But fitness was his killer, if you like. And then my year, you had a young lad that I think he come from Wednesday. Was it Nathan Forbes?
Forbes, yeah.
Yeah, so he had loads of ability, just no go, no drive, no nothing in him. And he did. So we had the pre-season. He was flying. I think we went away to Alpha and won. He scored maybe 2 of them. Evans had him in the first team for the rest of the pre-season. Then in League 2, he had him straight in the squad, and I think he made his debut. And then before this season was out, I think that was it. He was done and dusted. Wasn't a Boston anymore. So it was like another one. But if I had half his talent with my drive or something, I might have done all right. But
oh, Nathan Forbes. Yeah. So was you ever part of the infamous hitch a ride back to the ground? Was you there that day, or was you at school with Jacko?
Running from that was probably one of Welsh's games, wasn't it? It was like, right, today you're running back to the ground. Or the one back to the ground. It was to the prison camp. Was it North Sea camp?
Oh yeah.
So we had. He set us off from the training place at. Is it Curtin? No, not Curtin. Where is it? Freeston, that's it. He set us off down from the field there, and we had to run down to the prison camp and back. But Welsh should be at the front of you, of course, leading it, like charging off like a nutter, and you'd all be trying to catch him. And then he had these like crazy routines that I think they were out of the army, but like, what's his name? Doughty. Doughty was getting left behind. So it was like, right, no one gets left behind. Pick him up and carry him. So you got like, he's sat on top of me like that. So yeah, there were plenty of days like that.
Oh, quality. You got any other good tales from the youth team days?
Yeah, a couple we can't tell. It was just an eye-opener, Lewis. It really was. So there was like, you had the boot skips as well, and there was various forfeits for worst trainer, and you ended up in the boot skip, and there was, your cold showers. So that was what youth team was all about. But obviously coming from East Coast, I'd never seen anything like it or wasn't used to it. So when you come in as a first year YT and the second years are telling you to get in the boot skip, it was like, what's going on here? But,
what is that?
yeah. Then fast forward that a year on, and the new lads were coming in, and you were like, right, get in the boot skip.
Boot skip. When you got to that age where you passed your test, you had that nice, what was it, the old Astra? Was it the Burgundy Astra? Now, Cookie, I had to. I told my folks about this. I said I am going to get him to tell the story. Now, How did you crash that car on the way to Grimsby? You've got to tell the story. It's hilarious because he's one of the luckiest people, right, to get something out of this. So you tell it. You're on the way to a Grimsby Town versus Scunthorpe, is that right?
Yes, I'm off to I suppose I used to keep that quiet at the time. That I was a bit of a Mariners and grew up a Grimsby fan and then playing for Boston. But yeah, we was on the way, a couple of friends to go watch Grimsby away at Scunthorpe. And as you're on the dual carriageway, you can sort of see the ground on the right hand side. It was a horrible night, like raining and that. And I think what it was, I think we were like looking at the grounds there as we were coming up to the roundabout sort of thing, but traffic had stopped. And when I turned back to see traffic had stopped, like it was a bit late, panicked, braked like hell, went into a skid, nudged the car in front of me. Not like no one was here, it wasn't anything like that. And then he just like sort of nudged into the back of into the front of the other car. So we were like, oh, like, jumped out of the car, checked everyone was all right, whatever. And then Fancy got out of the car in front, didn't he, with his driver? So the lad next to me was like the biggest Grimsby fan. So he was like, oh, here we go. This is like Grimsby Town chairman here. They just jumped. So he jumped out. Anyway, we ended up in the back of, I forget whose car, one of the cars. And the lad in front of him, actually, he jumped out. And Fenty says to us, oh, what's your name? And I was like, oh, Millson, like exchange detail. They turned to the other lad and says, what's your name? And he was like, Millson. And he was like, you're winding me up here. He was like, do you two know each other? I was like, no idea who this guy is. But yeah, no, we made it to the game just about 5 minutes late, I think.
Well, I seem to think, did he get you into the game? Did he give you some tickets? You've just crashed into it.
Yeah, so what? There was two of us
How
with
lucky is that?
two of us with tickets and two of us without tickets. So yeah, I think we got sorted out somehow. Yeah, so.
Oh my days! He got the chairman's number and tickets into the game. He's the
I don't know that chairman's number, but yeah, I couldn't get a move though. I tried that one.
Oh my days! So I thought, no, I'd get you to tell that one. It tickles me, that does. So obviously you've come through the 19s. Obviously highlighted them type of players who had if they had a bit more drive, you never know where they might have been. First team. So as I told you when I was trying to get you to come on, our stat man, Christian James at Boston United Stats on Twitter, he was asking for me to get you on. He's a massive fan. He's done the stats for you, and I think that's why I've got extras.
If I remember correctly, Lewis,
favourite.
From Sipsey Free Primary School, is that right?
He was at the time, yeah. Matt, yeah. He said if there was one person who should have made it, it's that Adam Millson, was his words. So your first team stats, and then we'll discuss your time with the first team. So in 07-08, you made one appearance, and that was just as a sub. I think that's transitioned from probably your under 19 days. Yeah. In the 08-09, incredibly, you made 46 appearances, 31 starts, and 15 as sub, and you got 5 goals. I think that's the famous one at Therapy. It's in the bag.
I did not. That's a bad camera angle. I did not kiss the badge.
He's done the cheesiest celebration ever.
I think I did the Mark Newsham before Mark Newsham called it the Mark Newsham.
In the 09-10 season, you made 5 appearances with 2 starts and 3 as a sub. And then, obviously, whatever happened in 2010-11, 1 appearance just as a sub, and then 11-12 season, 3 appearances, 2 starts and 1 as a sub. Your debut came away at Barrow, March 2008, many moons ago, as a sub in a 1-0 defeat. In the 08-09, you made 15 appearances under Tommy, but only a sub. Then I believe Welshie might have taken over, and that's when it all changed.
Yeah, that's it.
You had to wait until November 2008 to make your full debut. First goal came at home to Kids Grove. I remember that very fondly because me and the boys from work was like buzzing for you because I believe you was working with us probably then, was you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that's right.
And you know, you got your goal, 6-0. And honestly, we went mental in the town end. One of the few times I've actually stood in the town end before. Your first start came against Frickley at home in Welsh's first game. And then you started 31 out of 33 games before the injury away at Nantwich, which we'll cover the injury in a bit. Because obviously that was a bit of a defining point for you. Your goals came against Stamford. Link Shield final, which we lost 4-1.
Yeah.
You scored against, you like scoring against these. You scored against Spalding twice in the UPL Cup, won 6-1 after extra time. And away at North Ferriby, which pissed the badge, arms out. That I absolutely slaughtered you for. Then you got, from that season, you got the 5 times, not 1 trophy, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 awards at the end of the season, which I think was every single award. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. But our top goal scorer, mate, I didn't quite get that one.
I'm probably guessing it was probably Noosh, was it?
No, I think it's Ollie Ryan.
Was it Ols? Need to get him on, actually. And then you made 2 starts in 2009-10 versus Hucknall in the League Cup and Grantham Links Shield final, winning 1-0. Was that the night? Was that the second night?
That's the second one, yeah.
That's the second one, which we'll come back to. And 2010-11, you were sub in Link Shield against Grantham, then didn't play again until 2011-12, where you made 2 starts at home to Histon and away at Nuneaton. So quite a bit there. Like, it could be my writing being big, covering the page. But how was it? Let's discuss the first team days. Some good stats, especially in the 08-09 season, given that chance by Welshie. Obviously, I think the Kids Grove game came with Tommy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Was that the famous game where there was one lad who was injured? He got told to stand on the side of the pitch because you used all your subs. Was that the Danny Matson game where he got injured?
I don't remember that.
I thought it was that game where we used all the subs.
I know what happened. I ended up, I can't remember who got it. It might have been Farrell. Someone got injured. I come on fairly early. And whoever got, I think it was Farrell, he got injured. I think he had the armband on, skipper's armband. So he come over to the side and obviously passed me the armband. And I turned around to Tommy and was like, who wants this then? And he sort of like swore at me, grunted and said, just stick it on. Running on the pitch crowd and punching the armband on, and then obviously scored. So I think there's still a few pictures kick about, and I've got the armband on. I'm like the youngest lad on the pitch. But
awesome. Can you remember your goal?
Yeah, it's a back. We actually used to work on that. To be fair, it's one of these ones that like plan come off. So a big thing Tommy Taylor used to do all the time was like hit the back stick. All his crosses wanted right round the back, that back post. So it was just make the run to the back post and hope that the ball comes, and it did, and it was tapping really, but they all count, don't they?
I think I remember Beeson always saying about he always had to hit deep crosses. Or everything was deep.
Pork chop foot.
Yeah, and to be honest, Jacko mentioned it last week. Obviously, he used to get stick from Tommy. He'd have to clean his car out if he didn't do it right. So you didn't get anything like that, I suppose. He trusted you in the captaincy, didn't he? So
I don't know.
He was top player.
I think it was just easier to say shut up and get on with it and get on the pitch.
But you mentioned the likes of Dave Farrell there, and obviously Ollie as the top goal scorer and everything. But training and obviously playing with them boys, what was that like for you? Especially coming through the ranks?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, it was great at the time. You were just like obviously, I was desperate to get a first start, and it wasn't quite happening under Thomas. And you were just like saw them as people in your shirt, if you see what I mean. So it was all competition, but like looking back, it was great fun. They always treated you well. Don't get me wrong, you got a lot of stick and a lot of banter being like young lads, but like it's all in good spirit. You mentioned the debut there. There was like Barrow and Workington that season where we went away. It was in the change rooms and Paul Ellender was there, and he was like putting his hand on my shoulder, and he was like really looking after me. I thought, like, this is spot on here. Like, he's making sure I'm fine here. And then I was thinking, this is getting a bit OTT here. Like, why does Ellie keep patting me on the back and stuff? Anyway, about 5 minutes later, it clicked that there was about 3 bags of jelly babies on the bench. And he's been rustling his hands in the jelly babies, covering them with powder, and then patting me on the back. So all the lads are there killing themselves, and I'm this young, naive lad thinking Ellie's looking out for me.
Oh, no. Well, that's probably where you get your your pranks from then, because you used to like to wind up a few people, didn't you? I remember one time Millie was working with me at a school, and I think it could have been a wet play or something at the primary school. And can you remember what you did to one of the teacher assistants or one of the helpers with us that day? He got a black felt tip, and what he was doing, because I looked at him thinking, what is he doing? And he started colouring in like a back of a sticker, or it could have been a ruler or something. And then he says, "Oh, we're going to play a game where I've got to guess what's on your forehead, or I've got to describe it. It's one of them icebreaker games." And this lad has just gone like that, slapped a sticker on his forehead, but as he's removed it, he's got a black rectangle on his forehead. And I'm thinking, this lad's got helpers at the school in a minute. He's obviously influenced by Ellie's little pranks back in the day.
Yeah, that's it. It's like what's done to you, Lewis. You just pass on, don't you?
Yeah. But, obviously, during your time with the first team, you've been a Skeggy lad as well. And, there was a few ex-East Coasters as well in the Parker brothers. You had Wes and Liam. Was you there when Connor, because he was Skeg as well, was you there with Connor Marshall?
Nah, I played with him afterwards, but yeah, because he come to Wisbeach with me and he was at Cleethorpes as well, but not
right. I don't know whether they crossed paths at Boston, but you had the Parker brothers. Did they obviously take you under the wing? I bet you had a few good car shares.
Yeah, that was it. It was all about the car share. So I knew them anyway. For like, who doesn't know them in Skeg? So it was a great laugh. To be fair, they were probably some of the most fun times I've had playing football with that car school. And then the other one, I suppose, Gary King come on loan, so he was in the same East Coast team with me. So he come from Lincoln to Boston for a loan spell, didn't he? I don't think it lasted too long, but
you're currently playing in the same team as him now, right?
Yeah, it's with me now. Yeah.
Hey, all full circle. So I'll put you on the spot. Which one's the better Parker brother? Oh, crunch question that.
Macaulay.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, he's doing all right. So with your first team days, so Tommy, then into Welshie. Welshie, you obviously saved the club. You obviously got the 5 awards. How was that? Before we go on to the other managers, how was it? As a young lad, winning those accolades.
Yeah, it was like the perfect pick-me-up. So obviously, I was. It was probably less than a month from when I'd just broken my leg away at Nantwich. So, it was a lot of doom and gloom. We were obviously in a relegation battle as well. So I was sort of like missing out, but I was mad keen to be involved in that. Missing football, not a broken leg. So, it was a perfect pick-me-up. But it was just nice to be recognised, I guess.
Yeah, well, on my notes here in front of me, I was sort of going to cover the injury in a bit, but obviously you mentioned the Nantwich. It's come up twice now, so it's a bit of a defining moment for you. Because see, I knew you very well then anyway, and we was all gutted because we all had extra sessions to do, thanks to you, leg. But at the same time, obviously, when a friend goes down, and me personally as a fan as well, it is upsetting. At the same time, you know, what's your recollections of the night at Nanwich? Was it going well for you, or did you think something bad might happen, or you know?
Nah, it's just another game. Like,
how did it come about? Was it a tackle? Did you go in wrong, or you know, could something a bit different?
Just another game, Lewis. So, like, if you've ever been to Nanwich, but back then anyway, certainly it was like lovely settled. The pitch was like,
right.
So you were turning up and you were like, this is all right. There was sprinklers turned on. You were thinking, happy days, like, we play here every week. Anyway, I think we were 1-0 down. We ended up getting hammered that night. I think we were 1-0 down when it happened. We were on the counter attack. I think Ricky Miller was playing. I think he set the ball back to me. It was potential to be dangerous. I nicked it past matey, and I'd never say that he went to break my leg, but he went to make sure the counter attack didn't continue.
Right.
But like, my leg was planted, and it just that's kind of it really. And then
which one was it? Left or right?
Right leg. Yeah, hurt an incredible amount, but thought at first I'm like, pain will ease and I'll play on, sort of thing. And then obviously Katie ran on. It was none of this sort of stretcher and oxygen sort of thing. It was arm round two lads and hop off the pitch. So we did that. Say again.
The old-fashioned crutches.
Yeah, that was it. Got the side of the pitch and was like waiting, thinking, what's going on here? Like, Stan, Andrew Stan? Is it Stano?
Stano, yeah.
He was like helping Welshie at the time, so he ran past me to appeal for something or shout at the line or give some abuse out. Anyway, he clipped my leg, and it was excruciating. I was in bits. So I think that's when Katie said, you probably ought to go get checked out. Well, my mum and dad had come to watch that game. Obviously, I was on the team bus. I think my dad ended up taking me to Crewe Hospital in mum's Audi TT, and mum ended up going back on the team bus, sat next to the chairman. And I ended up in hospital in Crewe till about 4 a.m. and then drove home with dad in Castle. So,
ouch. Yeah, it's not good. But to be fair, you when you did get the injury, you did become an incredible FIFA player, didn't you? So there was a positive to come out of it. Cookie, he was unreal. I'm now 34. I can admit to him. Back then, I would say no, he wasn't, like we all do. He used to say, "Go on, say it. Go and tell me I'm an incredible FIFA player." I'm like, "No, Millie, I'm not going to. I'm not going to acknowledge you, right?" But probably now I'm going to acknowledge he was unbelievable because he had plenty of time, sat down, leg up, practicing.
That was life back then.
That was life. You give you a run for your money, Cookie. So, you know, like I say, leg up a lot of time, controller in hand. You know, what can you do to keep fitness and stuff like that? There's not much you can do apart from sit there and wait it out. What was sort of the rehab sort of stuff behind getting your back playing, the strengthening stuff? What you needed to do? Did Katie give you a program?
So obviously, when I first got my pot off, and then obviously looked at my leg, it's just like, if you ever broken a bone and had it in pot for ages, you just know what. And it was like, you couldn't really bend my knee, and it's grim. So steady process. First it was walking, then it was like, right, when am I allowed to run? And just got back running, but then I was running with a limp. I couldn't get rid of the limp, and everyone was sort of telling me it's psychological. But sorry, is there a jangle going on in the background? Can you hear that? Anyway, so got back playing, but I was limping whilst playing, so I almost had to pull myself out and say, like, something's not right here. This is I'm not the sort of lad like, oh, it's in my head, I'm scared about going in a tackle. I was ready to, as soon as someone said you can go play, that was all clear for me. I'll go throw myself in the 50-50.
Yeah. I think I remember talking to you and saying, you know, what happened to you was sort of horrific, and you said about the limp with the run and stuff like that, and it was just one of them where I think I was quite brutally honest with you. Like, you obviously all the other mates at the club at the time, you just need someone to tackle you. You just need someone to slide at you, and you just take that first initial hit. You know what, I'm all right, and it just breaks the ice, breaks the mold, doesn't it? And it's just waiting for that.
But I suppose in hindsight, so like I went away to Penrith. My dad was in the fire service, and he had access to like family members to go away to like a rehabilitation week. So I had 2 weeks there, which brought me on no end, to be fair, and then come back and try to sort of like pick it back up. And that's when I did get back on the bench, and then I got that first start away at Grantham. Yeah. And then that's it's one of the Saunders brothers, big lads. Anyway, that wasn't a bad tackle. He just fell awkward on me. He was holding the ball up. I was back from a corner. He just fell awkward on me and fell on that lag, and it just went again in the same place.
Can you believe that, Cookie? First game back, and it happens again. It's, it is unheard of, really, in football. Same leg, a clumsy fall onto someone, and it's easily done. And then we're back to being like morale quite low again because we've got extra sessions to cover for him. So, but what is it?
Well, I was gutted, to be fair. My mum and dad obviously came to that game as well, and I was like in the car afterwards, and I was like, at this point, no one had said you broke your leg. That game, I got up and kicked the ball again afterwards. So I tried to play out like I was desperate to play, and I just got back in the team, didn't want to come off injured. Yeah. And then you're like already getting murmurs like, oh, Millie just like injury prone or whatever. So you're desperate to carry on. And obviously I had to come off. I think there's a photo, like we won that shield that day. And there's a photo there where we're presented with a trophy, and I'm still there, stood at the side, like linked on, got me Link's Cup like little medal or whatever. And then
a bit more of a warrior than John Terry kitting up to get his medal.
That's it. And then I afterwards sat in the car, mum and dad, and I was like, legs really starting to hurt now. And they were like, well, is it the same place? I was like, yeah, it's the same place. And it was like, is it going through the questions? It was like, is it the same sort of feeling? I was like, yeah, same sort of feeling. I was like, I just started crying, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's broke again. And just
what was it? I've never really spoke about emotions or anything like that. But you're saying you're crying. Would you say that time it was very sort of a dark period for you? Did you take a bit of a low in yourself? I'm not going to say did you go through depression or something like that, because we'd be on the BBC if we was talking about stuff like that. But
I'm a pretty positive person anyway.
Like, but did things go like, Millie's injury prone, and will I play again and stuff like that? Because it's awful for the best of us who, when I used to roll my ankle easy as I got older, and you used to go, is that it for me now and stuff like that. You've just broke your leg twice in the same place.
Yeah.
What was there ever a thought of, I need to do it all again, I need to fight to get back?
Yes and no. Like the first thing that went, like I remember sat in the car and I was like saying to my dad, look, you're gonna have to get me in the fire service here, like I'm done. I need to go get a job. But like as a boy, I suppose, grew up thinking, right, what am I living to be playing football? What better living to have than that at whatever level? If you get by playing football and that's your job, then great. But that was kind of like reality check. It's not going to happen, or it's different, isn't it? I suppose if you're elite and you play football at a much better level than I ever did, then there's more support to getting back. I suppose at that sort of level, I suppose it's not just about getting back playing, but you also need to earn money to have a living, don't you? So it's, yeah, I knew that.
Who was in charge on that second night? Did you say so it was Welshie and Stano?
Yeah, Scott and Hurst that second night.
Scott and Hurst. Which how was it with them? Because obviously the other boys who've been on, they've spoke very, very highly of them. They were big believers in you as well, weren't they?
So yeah, I mean, I never got chance or opportunity to show them what I could do because I just wasn't I wasn't fit really. I signed, fortunately, I signed my deal a month or so before I broke my leg, and then that ran all the way through to the end of the season, which Scott and Hurst come in the following season. And for the majority of that, I was either in pot or like not fit, and then getting back fit where they give me every chance, to be fair to them, and I was getting back on the bench, and then obviously that happened again. So it's, I don't know, I can't really say a bad word about them. What I can say is that Rob Scott was very angry and everyone was scared of him. And he used to go off his rocker, and Hurst used to be stood next to him like that, like he wasn't there. And he just, and then
successful partnership.
Yeah,
successful partnership.
I suppose tactically, everything was organised and they travel separate from players, and you get to training and everything was set up, and then there'd be a clipboard there with everything being on timed, and it was different. It was a different approach to how Welshie sort of took training and managed things. More professional, I suppose, but on the other hand, I suppose things were better for me playing under Welshie. He was like a motivator to me.
So really, Welshie probably got the best out of you.
Yeah.
Through his character.
I wouldn't say that's a reflection of what like Scott and Hurst did for me. It's just I want ready. I want fit.
Obviously during the spell, obviously being with the Pilgrims, you had loans across at Grantham, Spalding United, and Lynn and Stamford to try and prove your fitness. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's it. Boston wasn't working, I wasn't playing. At the same time, you're a young lad. You haven't played for 2 years. You want to go play. You don't want to sit and wait for a chance, which I don't know. Hindsight, was it the right thing to do? Was it not? I don't know. Could I have sat there and waited on the bench a bit longer and maybe got an opportunity, or go play? So it's decided to go play. Well, nothing was the same. No matter where I went.
In your defence, if you've not played for a long time, you need minutes. You weren't going to get any fitter match fit sat on the bench and waiting for an opportunity, and them allowing you to go out on loan to prove to then potentially come back.
Yeah.
And like you said, you didn't probably have the rub of the green with them due to obviously the injuries. So when I think I've got down here as well, you also had loan spells at a loan spell at Corn FC.
Yeah,
with Laurie.
Laurie Dugfield was the gaffer there, so I went and played for Laurie for a bit. It's great fun, to be fair. I'd probably stopped there longer if it wasn't an absolute trek from Skeg.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and they kind of recognised that because they offered me more money to go play at Quorn than I was getting paid at Boston to sort of keep me going. And then I was like, in the end, I said it's not about the money, because they said, well, if you like, there might be a bit there if you need more money to come through. I was like, no, it's really not about the money. It's just like 5 hours out of my day or 4 hours out of my day to go play and then come back. But even then, we were playing. Obviously, we spoke about the Lincolnshire Cup. There was a Leicestershire Cup, similar thing, and we were playing like Leicester City. It was there under 23s. Tom Hopper was there actually, in Boston, but he was there at the time. And obviously, Laurie rang me up and he was like, right, I'll give you the night off. You don't need to come all the way through for a Leicestershire Cup. And I was like, what are you on about, Laurie? Like, I'm coming. Sort of thing. And that's the sort of lad how, like, back then, you should mad for football.
Yeah, Laurie was very experienced player. You had a spell with Jason Lee and Canners. So when Rob Paul went to the Mariners, your beloved Mariners, Jace Lee and Canners stepped in, and I believe they offered you a trial pre-season.
Yeah, pretty much. I rang Canners just when he got the job with Jason and said, look, just told him, obviously he knew me from my first spell. He was in the first team when I was youth team, and we used to like train a bit together. And then there's plenty of time to play with him before then. After then, sorry. And then rang him up and said, look, I've not really settled anywhere. I feel like I'm fit. I've been working hard this close season. Can I come back? Will you give us a chance to prove myself? And they did. They just said, yeah, come see us. And then, at the end of that pre-season, they said, look, we can offer you a bit of a deal. It was kind of like a pay-as-you-play sort of thing, an incentive there to get in the team, and then you get sort of like a bit more money if you, I suppose the worry for them is he's just had 2 broken legs. He ain't going to be fit. We don't want to give him a deal. And then, so it was like we agreed with something like that. And anyway, injuries fell, and I think it was the first game of the season. I ended up starting it actually. And then, again, I was in the team for a little bit, and then, just sort of like petered out really.
What sort of players did Jason Canners? Obviously, I've got loads of players going around in my head, but sort of what during that time, what players was you training with? Who was you up against, sort of thing, for vying for the same positions?
I suppose probably the best centre midfielder then would be Ben Mills.
Right.
Good player, to be fair. I think he'd just come out of professional football when Boston took him, and good player, Ben. But there was still like a bit of the leftover from the Hurst and Scott era, if you like. There was still like overlap of players there.
Did you have like Sleafy and Churchy, or have they moved on?
I think Churchy had gone. He went to Town, didn't he? I think with Scott and Hurst. There was a lad called Wilkinson, blonde-haired lad. He was playing centre mid as well. So it was like the Milne. I'm sure it was Wilkinson.
I'm not sure. We'll have to get the stats.
You have to get Statman out on there. Tell me I'm wrong. I'd be gutted if I'm wrong. Yeah, it was like me and Milne sort of like competing mainly in midfield. But I think Noosh was like still up top and that. Canners was playing a little bit at first.
Yeah.
Jace Lee got back playing.
Jace
Lee. Where do we go? We went away to Harrogate, and I think he come on, scored the winner with his head. And I was kind of like close to it. And I just remember him leaping up. Well, he smashed his header and won it. Anyway, looked at the centre half that's picking himself up off the floor, and he's got like a crater in his head with blood trickling down the back of his head. But that'd be Jason's elbows.
Yeah, that's non-league for you. As Mickey Nutt will call them, the Spanish archers.
Yeah,
elbow. That was what he was renowned for, and at that time, obviously, we probably needed the points as well. How good was it playing in a team with Canners?
Oh yeah, it's like when we were youth team under 16s, you'd have to go watch the games or whatever. Back then in the league, he was like, in our opinion, he was one of our better players in the league football. So then to carry on with that, play alongside him.
He was a cracking salesman because
we're all signed up for insurance.
Cheers, Canners.
Canners, what am I entitled to? Just pay it, Millsy.
Just sign here. That's what Canners used to say. Just sign here. It's easy. Well, I'll sort it out for you. No, he's a top man. During your loan spells, though, getting back fit, was there any teams which you played for where you thought, if it don't work out, this is a good setup, I'd like to play it? Like you said, Corn, but it was too far away. you had spells at Grantham, Lynn, Stamford.
Yeah, I think Lynn was the one I'd maybe like to work out, but they messed me about quite badly, if I'm honest. And I suppose there was Gary Setchell that later managed me at Wisbech. He was the gaffer there, and then he had an assistant, Kevin Boone. But I think John Blackwell was involved in me signing as well, or helped out in that. Yeah. I went over. We had a trophy game, I think, at home, and won about 5-0. It was like real comfortable game. Anyway, I come on the last 20 minutes, as you imagine. I think it was 4-0. Like, game was done and dusted. Did nothing wrong, but didn't set the world alight. What can you do in 20 minutes? Trained
exactly.
And the next week, I was cup tied or something like that, so I missed it. And then the week after, Booney rang me up and was like, "Oh, there's something come up, Millsy, but I don't think we can sign you anymore." And I was like, "What do you mean sign me anymore? You've signed me. I've played for you. I've trained for you. I've just left the club I was at Grantham. I just left Grantham, come across. What do you mean?" And he was like, "Yeah, we need to sign this striker and we can't have both of you, so we're going to sign him." No, I played with this lad later at Bacon. I played with him at Wisbech afterwards. But yeah, that was it. That was done, dusted anyway. Obviously, I resented Setchell and Boone for that ever since. I thought it messed me about terrible. Played at Wisbech for years. Dick Creasy, actually, he sort of like stepped away, and I sort of read on Twitter that the club's appointed Gary Setchell as manager. I thought, terrific, here we go. So
follow the prize.
I ended up thinking this is going to be tremendous. Anyway, like he cleared the air pretty soon. He blamed it on Booney, whether it was Booney or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, after that point, absolutely loved it under him, and couldn't say a bad word about it. I had a great time playing with him, and ended up, absolutely.
That was at Wizzy.
Yeah, that was at Wizzy. Yeah.
You ended up making 346 appearances. There's a stat what I found out. That's not from Christian, actually. So he only does Boston United. I go.
Is that from Spenny?
So 346 appearances. That's not bad. That's not bad.
How many goals there?
Not many.
Didn't get that, mate, did you?
Like I say, we can put on that lovely new monitor Cookie's got in the background with OffScript on. We can get a video of Millie's cleanly struck goal that I've watched last night on YouTube. Cross from the right. Good finish.
We'll pop the link in the description.
Need to get the Ferriby goal on there. Dig that one out.
That is what we need. So if anyone does have that North Ferriby goal, we'd love to hear. But so, you've had them spells. You've probably wanted it to work out at Lynn. You end up signing for Stamford, I believe, don't you? After Boston.
I had a spell at Stamford. So another Skeg lad, actually, Miles Chamberlain. He was
play with Millie.
So he was there and travelling from Skeg. So he just basically said, come over. And Dan Stedman as well at the time, I think. So he's an ex-Boston as well. Yeah, we just travelled through. So stopped there for a bit.
Stedders used to cut your hair, didn't he?
Yeah.
Still do it.
Could do with one now. Legal trim. Enjoyed it. Like, had a good time, but it's like difficult because I suppose the only club I knew was Boston, so I suppose you make comparison to that, and I suppose people that played at a better level than I ever did would kind of like laugh at that maybe and think, well, I'd be used to this. If I come to Boston, I'd get it better. But I suppose it's what you're used to, isn't it? You always compare it to that, and you always. Yeah,
I know when I've spoke to people and people say exactly the same thing about the only thing they know is Boston. Even for training, you have the kit man down there laying all your training kit out ready and everything. And when you go to other clubs, it's like, well, this isn't happening. What's going on? And you're like, it's a total different setup. And for a non-league outfit, it's a professional club. People don't realise it. They might do with this new stadium when they look at it and when they finally get in. But we'll have to give you a tour around, Millie. I've said that on camera, so I've got to do it now, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people do the comparison, but like you said, you've gone from East Coast, Boston United. It's what you know, isn't it? How things. Oh, and you know, you've had a wealth of knowledge from different managers. Not to say the other managers you had didn't have experience in the game, but you look at the career Tommy Taylor had and where he's been.
An England cap, did he?
Yeah. Obviously Welshie, playing, you know, Scottish Prem. Legend at Peterborough. I always remember the day watching Boston away at Peterborough. Welshie got announced to the crowd. I think, yeah, he got announced to the crowd, and the crowd went mental. The whole crowd. It was obviously a legend at Peterborough. Rob and Paul, you know, the wealth of knowledge they had. And obviously Hurst is now back at Grimsby again.
Yeah.
And then Jason Lee, the career he's had. Lee Cannaville, obviously his pathway, which we should hear very soon about. Spoiler. And yeah, it's, you know, you've got all these different experiences that you can obviously learn off, and I've, you know, it's incredible where you've been, really, and
it's just
how you've prolonged it from, you know, playing for your dad in a Tim Cowdell to then where you've gone. It's just exceptional, really. Credit due to you, especially with what went on as well. We brought back the fan question, Cookie.
Right.
Scott Burrell, who is a big fan of OffScript. I sent him a message saying if he wanted to get a question involved. And he sent 2 questions, but the second one might extend depending on your answer, Millie. So his first question was, how did you feel about getting dragged into play away at Mareham for the community team? And I thought that was brilliant. That tickled me, that did. He said it must have been about 12 years ago. But
I remember it.
I covered it earlier. I think you randomly said, my game's off. Can I play for you? And I was thinking, I don't know, I'll have a word. And I thought, wherever you was meant to be going, say, I don't know, Nantwich or Ferriby or whatever, and you end up playing at Mareham. Did you score, mate? I can't remember. I remember we all had to take a shift and going to get changed and then come out because it was that tiny.
Yeah, no, I think I scored 1 from memory. It's but back then, we've already touched on it. I loved playing, didn't matter who for. And I suppose you'll back me up that even when we were putting on coaching sessions to play football with the 7 or 8-year-old lads, I found it difficult sometimes to stand at the side and coach without wanting to get involved. Yeah, it's just how I was. Football was like ingrained in me, and I just wanted to play. Didn't matter who for. And if my game was gutted, generally gutted, like I want if my game was off, I was generally gutted and just wanted to go get a game, which is a bit like where we're getting to now. No games with Skeg. Well, obviously, our league's cancelled for the foreseeable, and I've sort of like chatting to a few lads where I'm living now, and they were saying the local leagues are starting back up, and I was sort of thinking, oh, hang on then, if local leagues are starting, but Skeg's not they're waiting until next season.
It's bonkers to think that some of the more elite football stopped because they made that decision earlier than obviously this latest announcement. It's crazy to think. Scott's second question is, after the season you won all the awards, 5, did you feel in your head you was better than Unibon, and did you have ambitions to go to a higher club? Did you have any offers from a higher club up the ladder?
No concrete offers.
But you were injured.
Yeah, so I had ambitions. I didn't have ambitions to leave. I had ambitions to make a living out of football.
Right.
I suppose back then when you were like playing, you used to get, oh, so and so's coming to watch today, or this club's here today, and this club's, and obviously it got fed back to players. And I always remember, like, she called me before one game and said, yeah, there's 2 teams here today. They're here to watch you, and don't let it affect you, sort of thing. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have bloody told me that, should you?
Always the way.
But then,
just up your game.
Sorry.
Don't let it affect you. Just let it up your game.
Yeah, and then no offers. It was just there was aspirations to go play at the highest level you possible. But there wasn't any part of me that ever thought I need to get away from Boston because I'm better than that because I've won 5 awards. It was more like, no, I want to get back playing for Boston.
Yeah, and prove yourself again. He texted me earlier and he said, I think I'm nearly there with my 1 to 11. So, Cookie, this is your little segment.
Here we go. 1 to 11. Is it a Boston United 1 to 11, Lou?
Yeah, well, I was told it had to be a Boston United 1 to 11.
Oh, right.
I played it safe for him. Some of these ones who they play for so many clubs, they can't pick players. They struggle. So,
right. So, here we go.
The keeper was the hardest one, to be fair. Because I was thinking, well, have I actually played with, like, I've trained with Bastock. I've played out away from Boston with Bastock. I've trained with, like, do you know what I mean? I've been around him so much, and I was thinking, is it on record that I've made an appearance for Boston with Bastock? And I don't know if I have. So then I thought, well, what's the alternative? I could go like Tom Evans and then get a shameful advertising for where I work at Forester Boyd and say Tom Evans is also there as well. So we've got Cameron and an advisor there. And everyone should come use it. So that's where we got to with that.
Right.
Awesome.
Then we're going like bog standard. I think we're going bog standard 4-4-2. I've got a few names scribbled down. Canners is set in stone at right back. Again, easy choice. I don't know if I play with a right back that comes close. Centre halves, you've got one you text me about saying nailed on. He's going to be in there. So you've got Sean Pearson, that's obviously went on from Boston to bigger and better things. You've got Paul Ellender, who was coating his hands in jelly babies and looking after me on my first games.
Powdering you.
Left back was hard, to be fair. I was struggling with left back. I think where I got to was to go with Nick Jackson. No, not Nick Jackson. To go.
You've done him there. He put you in his team as well.
I think we'll go with a right-footed left back, Matt Bloomer.
Really? Sorry, Jacko. You should have changed your 1 to 11.
So I'm not going. See, some of these where I'm going to after here I perhaps didn't play with them when they was at their best, but they've probably had the best careers.
Didn't you play with Jones? Jellyman? With Jones there at the club?
I did, yeah.
Well, Blooms has got the nod.
Oh, I don't know. Blooms has just lost.
In my head, I thought you'd go Canners, Jellyman, Pearson, and obviously Ellie's a dead cert. I was unsure about what was the goalkeeper. Did you say Evans? Tom?
Yeah, I've gone Evans because I'm not sure whether I've made an appearance with Bastock. Otherwise,
right.
Bastock.
I tell you what, Butcher's going to be fuming.
Yeah,
sorry, Butch. Jacko last week.
That's like the Wisbech Yaxley, sort of like Derby coming through. Yeah, I can't pick him. Probably I'm going to throw Jellyman in. He's got a book, hasn't he? So that's better than Bloomer.
There we go, mate.
There you go. Trying to get him some royalties as well.
Do you want Bloomer on the bench?
Yeah. I haven't done any subs. There you go. In the midfield, then we've got David Farrell on the left wing.
Player. Great
Don't
player.
know if many could argue with that one, to be fair. Been around, done it, and still had a bit when I was playing, so can't really argue with that, I don't think. And then in the midfield, there's like 4 names I've got here for midfielders. I'll narrow it down to 2, but we've got 3 old school. You've got Talbot,
Yeah.
Steve Melton, and Ben Sedgemore, the old school ones. So they've had the careers.
Yeah.
I suppose guidance, if anything. I was just a young whippersnapper, obviously wanted their shirt. Remember Talbot pulled me one day after training towards the end of it, because I think he left halfway through the year, but basically he said to me, I expect you to be wearing my shirt by the end of this season, and if you're not, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And I, remember it and thought, yeah, decently you'd say that, to be fair, because it's kind of what it's about. But then I suppose the other one's Churchy. Churchy was good. He had the combination with Sleethy, and I suppose we looked at it and thought, who's better, Churchy or Sleethy? But I think Sleethy was just like fit as anything, but Churchy had that like grit and nastiness about him, but then technically very good as well. So I think we'll go with Talbot and Church.
Talbot and Church, right? The others can go on the bench, Millie. We can have a bench.
And then right wing, Danny and Gesson. Remember him?
Did you play with Danny and Gesson, did you?
I did Danny and Gesson, yeah.
Yeah.
For the Resis, does that count?
Yeah.
He was.
You do realise this is going to be a nightmare for Cookie to spell, so we'll have to find these out for him.
Yeah, find them out. He was unbelievable. Like that question that I got asked: did you ever feel like you shouldn't be a Boston if you won the awards? Danny and Gesson was what I felt too good for Boston. I think he'd come from Rangers, didn't he, on loan? That was one of Steve Evans' connections, if you like. But he was ridiculous.
So going back to your midfielders, are you putting Sleeth on the bench, Sedgemore? Or are you just having Sleeth on the bench?
We'll go Sedgemore on the bench.
Sorry?
We'll go Sedgemore on the bench because he used to like roll up. I think he had like a real old school Jaggy type. So that's one. He used to get out. He used to come to the gate of York Street and get out like a don. So and then up top, again, there's some names there. There's obviously like Jason Lee. Didn't play with him that much, but played with him. And obviously, if you look at his career, Mark Newsham is he Boston's all-time top goal scorer? Is he?
He's one of the, he's one. He's got a lounge named after him at the new stadium.
That's it. I can't believe he got it. I can't believe he got the nod over me, if I'm honest. But he got Joe.
The problem is he scored more than 50 goals. You only scored 5.
He played 50 times.
hey, but Wrighty, did he win 5 awards? Did he win?
There could be a petition started after this.
Yeah, this is strikers. I was struggling. You got, like I say, Jason Lee, Joe Chim, Newsham, Ricky Miller, Spencer Weir Daly.
So yeah.
Tom Hopper, can you count him? He played at about 14 for us. I don't know if there was a sideline reason for getting him in the team at 14, whether the club thought they were going to get a bit of extra coin from it. I don't know. Yeah. You have to get the chairman on and ask him that.
Yeah. Who would you nail down as your 9 and 10?
Weir Daly.
Oh, Spencer. Cookie's favourite player?
And Joachim, I guess.
Quite the same type of player.
Oh, I'm not picking it to win a game. I'm just. Otherwise, we'll have Jason Lee and Weir Daly up it.
I can't believe Newsham on the bench.
Yeah, without doubt.
Oh, Noosh will be gutted about not making the starting 11. But hey, your team is the hard hard thing picking a team.
That's yeah. See, now you got me thinking, Newsham. You like that? I'm going on career.
Impact player.
I'm going on Joachim's performance against Darlington, where he wanted to move. He was the best player on the pitch.
Go on, Cook.
Yeah,
So who's the same?
Done.
Who's the skipper?
Ellender. Who else?
Ellender.
Of course. And who would be the managers?
Oh.
From your time?
Steve Welsh.
There you go. Well, she's got players to work with and an extra session to do. There we go. Good team.
Like that.
Decent. Excellent. And quite a humble guy, even though he's won 5 awards. I don't know whether I've mentioned 5. He's not even put himself in the team.
Nah.
So
didn't play enough games, did I?
Well, I don't know. You got an A4 piece, A4 sheet of paper filled by me, so it wasn't too bad. So the teams after Boston, we've covered obviously teams away during the era of Boston, but after the Boston era, you went to Wizzy. You had 2 spells there, 346 appearances mentioned earlier. You signed for Spalding, and then so you went back to Wiz Beach the season after Jono, I believe, as you were saying earlier, because he made the move back quite quickly. You then, quite a big news is if you actually search Millie's name on Google, I think it could be the 3rd or 4th hit, is the breaking news of Cleethorpes Town signing in from Wiz Beach. The energetic midfielder, I thought he's writing this. He's writing his own media. So you moved to Cleethorpes. What was it like? Because Cleethorpes were on the up when you were moving there, weren't they? Surely.
Yeah, I think it still are. Like it didn't work out for me how I wanted it to go.
Is that down to like personal reasons, or was it you with work, or was you struggling to?
Yeah, well,
you didn't fit the type of players they got, or the system.
No, I mean their skipper and best player is centre midfielder Fletty. So that obviously had an impact. You're trying to get his shirt when he's their best player. So yeah, that comes by it. I suppose they were on the up.
What was the reason for going to Cleethorpes? Was it because it was on the up, or was it because it was close to home?
Close to home, really. I live this way now. Kept an eye on how they were doing. Obviously, saw them coming up through the leagues and thought. Obviously, Blooms was the assistant there, so I messaged Blooms and said, "Like, any chance I can come over and train me a pre-season?" And then he sort of met with him actually in the pub around the corner and sort of said, "Yeah, come," but pretty much agreed a deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, we was.
Did Ben go there after Boston? Did Ben? Was it Ben Davis who played for us?
Yeah. So I was in the team, if you like, in pre-season, and then I went away on holiday. So my own fault. I only got myself to blame. When I come back, Ben Davis had signed, and I was like, "Oh, here we go!" I remember, he's a name you know from football. Like someone like me that lives and breathes football, you knew who he was. You didn't even have to Google him and see where he's played. And then obviously all of a sudden you're fighting against Ben Davis and Fletty for a start. And yeah, it didn't work out. They were doing well, they were flying. And I decided to go dual registration, if you like, which in hindsight I think we know dual registration you don't really go to a team with a view to come back. But it's kind of like that. That's that. But yeah, so that's where it was at after that. But then obviously got the opportunity to go back to the hometown.
There you go. October 2020, just out of lockdown 1. It's time for Skegness Town. And they were, well, I saw the article when you signed. They were buzzing to get you.
I was well happy to go. I was well happy to go there. To be like really happy.
You've got Jace there, who you've probably played with before. Kingy. Is Parker there?
No, he's not.
No.
Briefly, yeah.
No. But obviously reigniting the partnerships with some of the old Boston players, so it comes full circle back to the hometown, down at Wainfleet Road, where the East Coast started. Probably.
That's it. Yeah, and like really, really look forward to it. Like, just got that. I don't know, even though it was like stepping down a league, and you don't mean that disrespectful in any sort of way. It was like hunger again, and then like keen to impress again, and just everything comes back. Yeah. And then obviously, like they were playing really well, so I found myself on the bench the first few games, then got into the team, and then COVID hit.
There you go.
That's where we're at.
Do you? Is it much better with obviously your current work? Because obviously when you was with Boston, you was working for us. You had that second break, which give you that thinking time for you to become I think you decided you was going to become an accountant. So you sort of told us, yeah, I'm coming back, but you're still going to be doing them sessions. So cheers for that, Melly. But you're fully qualified accountant now. Where do you say you're working at? Is it with Tom Evans, did you say, or is he with?
Yeah, so he's a financial advisor, but we've got Forrester Boyd accountants, and then Forrester Boyd wealth management. He's the other side. I'm on the accountant side. Yeah.
There we go. OffScript could be getting sponsors because he's just name dropped him twice during the podcast. So, no, enjoy it. Obviously, quite a hectic job, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's busy, but we shouldn't ever complain when we're busy. So,
no, definitely not. Did you miss coaching ever? Or did you?
Yeah. If you like, I'd be lying if I sat there and said like, day to day is more enjoyable. There's pros and cons with both. Some sessions we did at some schools, and we'll name those schools, were as stressful as dealing with demanding clients that need deadlines meeting. But at the same time, where I am, I've done well with Forrester Boyd and very happy there, and things are going well for me. So
with the job that you did, is there a healthy balance? Obviously, did it ever conflict with football? Did you ever miss training because you had deadlines, or was it,
they're really good to so we can be flexible with hours. If a evening game need to shoot off early to get on a away game somewhere, make the time up in the week. Obviously, in your busy periods, that gets a bit more awkward, but it's still flexible. It's down to me to do the work in the period I'm there. So I suppose the reason behind coming away from Wisbech was that drive on a Tuesday night was becoming too much. Else I had no reason to leave Wisbech or come away from that. I was skipper at the time that still loved it. But yeah, Cleethorpes on my doorstep, didn't work out. Dead happy to go to Skeg because we've got an office in Skeg as well. So it's ideal. And the lads, great set of lads, good gaffer, club. I'm sure you've seen the facilities, great facilities. Can't complain.
There you go. Get your car washed on the way out.
That's it.
Cooks, did you want to ask, obviously, if he's got any advice for the youngsters, for the younger viewers?
Just if a younger player gets an injury, have you got any advice to help them get through it? Because it can be quite
Because they're already good. They're already good at FIFA, Millie. So that's can't be one of the.
Yeah, don't sit there and play FIFA. No, I think it's just being strict and giving yourself that time each day just to do half an hour, an hour of, we'll call it rehabilitation work. But if you've got links to a physio or someone's give you some exercises to do, it's just being disciplined and make sure you're getting them done, because you might feel at the time they're not doing a great deal for you, or they might be pretty pointless or easy, but it's just helping those muscles that haven't been doing things or doing what they're used to doing, just get back to where they should be.
Awesome. Yeah. Would you change anything apart from the injuries? Would you change anything if you was to look back at the 14-year-old Adam Millson going to play for that Scottish fella? Looking back, would you do anything different throughout your career?
No, I don't think I'd find it difficult to tell you something right now that I'd do differently. Yeah. There's in hindsight that you think hadn't worked out perhaps and you shouldn't have gone there, but if you hadn't gone, you wouldn't know that, and you'd have been thinking, what if? Like King's Lynn, for instance. Yeah, it could be easy for me to sit there now and say I should have never gone there, but what if I'd have been sat there? Look where King's Lynn are now. That could have been me, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So, no, it's that's cool. Just before we wrap it up, because that's it for me. I thought I'd just say, because we don't normally plug upcoming guests, just in case things happen. And hey, look, still in the next couple of weeks, things might change. But we've got coming on next week to probably set the record straight about what all these young lads have been saying. We've got Steve Welsh coming because he texted me saying they're making out I'm a lunatic. That was his words. So
he is a lunatic.
He's going to come on, and he's an interesting guy anyway. Steve, talk about his time probably in the forces.
Ask him about Ali McCoist's boot.
Yeah, he's got a few stories. I've just got to tell him to keep it PG. So we've got Welshie coming up, Steve Welsh coming up next week, and then on the 25th, again probably due for the release the following day, we have Lee Cannaville coming up, so ex-player and manager of Boston United. So that's a good one to look forward to, and we might get another one squeezed in between them two. So glad all looking good on OffScript. Millie's like that now. He's got his done, and Welsh, you can come on after to
yeah, they've got better stories, Lewis. I don't want to be following them. That'd be a tough act to follow. All right, following Jacko and Fieldy, that's fine.
Yeah. Jacko's going to be fuming. He's not in the one, especially when you named him and then dropped him. Wow.
Yeah,
I think that's worse. And then Bloomer, bless him. You won't be going to Cleethorpes Town in time soon.
Yeah, well, that's it. He didn't play me over a skipper and Ben Davies at Cleethorpes.
That's it. No, from me, Millie, thanks a lot for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. The people who was asking for you to come on, hopefully they've enjoyed the listen to their favourite player. So yeah, just obviously thanks for coming on, Cooks.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate.
Enjoyed it, chat.
That's it for OffScript. Until next week. See you again soon.
Cheers.
Take care.